rolling, speed, and action. We had a little bit of rain a while ago, which is much needed here. This is a very arid climate. It left us with some nice looking clouds and good sunlight. Patches of water which are nice and reflective. I'm heading over to Harrison Blvd, one of the historic districts here in Boise today. And I'll explain why a little later on. But many of my videos will begin and end here in BSU on the campus. As I often do, I'm cutting through Julia Davis Park. It's just the most efficient way to get into the city center. I've also discovered that when using this, quote, action mode, close quote, for video stabilization, that it does better with bright light. I was out with it last night and I was shooting in failing sunlight as it was getting near sunset. And I've noticed it before in low light, and it just doesn't perform as well in lower light. I think it subsamples the pixels and it doesn't do as good a job as rendering the image or as good a job stabilizing video. So that's a little footnote for those that are using the action mode for video stabilization in the iPhone, beginning with iPhone 14. There's always some trade-off with these impressive new features. The idea that I can get something as steady as what ordinarily is done with a gimbal is still nice to have. On your left, I'm going to take 8th Street, then Idaho Street, and then I'll get on Hayes, and then to Harrison. This sculpture on my right here reminds me of a sci-fi movie I saw once of an alien spaceship. I'll drop in the name of it, and a still that I shot of it about a year ago. Well, if I make it, I can get right on across this. I've got about 11 seconds on this light. 9, 7. This is the Boise Center on the Grove. A lot of activities happen here. The Live After 5 every Wednesday night goes on with a free concert series. That will be tonight. It's a multi-use convention center, city center. This is the Boise Center East. Restaurants, bars. Right in front of me, the Cerro Bar and Grill. Boise Center on the west. All kinds of events, classes, convention things. Pardon me. This is 8th and Main. This is a very happening place at night. As Alan Watts would say, it is a happening. And this is where I connect with Idaho. Gorgeous skies, just the right amount of light. Not too bright, not too shadowy. This is the perfect time to be out. And I'll catch it later when I have the light. And I'm approaching the historic district, Harrison Blvd. What's at issue here is some vandalism of the LGBT pride flags. This is Pride Month. It's June 26th. And along this boulevard on both sides of the street, there are pride flags. And I don't know how many there are, but there could be as many as 100. And the news story surfaced that somebody had come along here and torn the flag, some of them, maybe as many as a half a dozen. And I got to thinking, after I scouted the area, I came back and I thought, you know, that's got to be an insidious kind of hate. Right there, yeah, they've done it again. There were flags out here, now they've just simply torn down the flags and bent the flagpoles. These streets are not very wide. Bicyclists do have the right of way. But city councilman in this district, District 6, his name is Jimmy Hallyburton, came along here one day last week, took down the damaged flags, took them home, got out his sewing machine, his Singer sewing machine, repaired them, came back out, and put them back up. And they've been vandalized once again. Yeah, the thing that gets me is that the people that are doing this are risking their own silly necks or having to come along here with a ladder or on the back of a flatbed truck with a ladder and yank the things down or try to cut them and yank them down, risking their own lives. I support the LGBT pride movement. My late wife was closeted bi. My daughter came out as pansexual some years ago, about 2014 or 2015. I'm somewhere on the spectrum. I don't know quite what you'd call me, but it's not simply cisgendered. So I support it for a number of reasons. And when I hear about this kind of vandalism, it strikes very close to home for me. This street goes north and south. I'm headed north on it. But as you can see, it's a really nice traffic island in there with well-kept grass and trees. And the neighborhood association has put up these pride flags. Sure, you can buy these homes, but it's pretty clear that buyers are investing in a piece of history, and the price tag reflects that. My sister-in-law and her husband used to live on this street. And I'm coming up on McCauley Park, and I'm going to do a little feature on McCauley Park as well. This is McCauley Park, so named after Councilman Ernest McCauley. In 1911, he decided or made the motion at the City Council to reserve this triangular piece of land and have it turned into a park, in part because it also commemorates the Oregon Trail. That kiosk you saw back there, along with the signage, I've got to be careful if I'm going under these trees. There's a little bit of history about the neighborhood and how it got turned into a park. The city bought the land for, at the time, $2,800 in 1911. And that obelisk commemorates it as being part of the Oregon Trail. This protective wall is rather new on 9th Street here. These videos are what I refer to as cinema verite, real life cinema. Thank you. All those bikes you see out there on the right, those are the ones that are either have been consigned to sell or you can trade. These skies are just amazing today. Still thinking about Jimmy Hallyburton. He also founded the Boise Goathead Fest, the Goathead Festival. And it became one of the largest bike festivals in the United States. The Goathead Festival began in 2018. I was a part of it. There was a parade. It was an organized community event. You ride your bike through the city on a determined route. And then afterwards, people will go along different places of the city and do what they could to eliminate this puncture vine known as goathead weeds. The Tribulus terrestris plant, which I will throw a picture of up into the inset area. This thing forms very hard, very large thorns, and they can and they will puncture tires. Even the ones like I've got, the 26 by 4 inch fat tires. I had a flat tire earlier in the season from an old goathead thorn from last season. But this was intended to be a brief video. A shout out to Jimmy Hallyburton, Mr. Hallyburton, councilman of District 6. It's always encouraging when I think people hear my bell. Many people have earbuds in and they have active noise cancellation. Let these co-eds get by. Go ahead. Take your time. A lot of activities on the campus this time of year. Good morning. But I'm going to go out here the same way that I came in. Boy, this high-vis wear really is something that you want. I've got on high-vis as well today. There's a rugby lesson over there. But I hope you're having a good day.